everyone. Just waiting for a few of our panelists, and if my deck can go on as well. I can start speaking and the presentation can follow if you like, since we're... Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes talking to you to set context of the luxury mindset over the last decade and a half, my personal observations, and, you know, through a consumer lens. So I was very fortunate to be at the center of it all, luxury brands entering India back in the mid-2000s in my capacity as the GQ India founding publisher. And I was not only an eyewitness to this transition, but I got a ringside view and cut my teeth by observing and shaping the changing landscape of this affluent customer behavior. So as many of you may remember, we all were intrigued by global stories of India riding the tiger, the growing middle class, the new rich. These were themes that, you know, the Time, the Newsweek, the Economist had on the covers of their magazines back in 2005 all the way up to 2015. And all these luxury brands were entering the country, and we had the opportunity to, some of us, meet, I mean, all these panelists along with me had the opportunity to meet many of them in person and sort of set up their first stores in the country. We saw this all happen all the way into that first decade of the luxury entry into India. I still remember the first International Herald Tribune conference held in New Delhi. Susie Menkes hosted it, and these luxury brands who came and were talking proudly about craftsmanship and sustainability. And I still remember Anna Xenia spent her whole presentation talking about the hilly sides of Italy, where Xenia spent all their time looking after their sheep. And I thought it was, you know, it was very moving, the pride of, you know, in craftsmanship and personalization. But were they really getting to know the customer of India? Luxury brands in that period seduced the urban, affluent, sort of drawing rooms. The people in those affluent drawing rooms, customers sitting in the far-flung towns were ignored. Luxury brands were exploring partners, opening stores in malls. Costs were high, ROIs were not obviously attractive. Most brands were not really seeing the desired results. I remember right in the middle of all of that, we were walking hand in hand with all these brands because GQ, Vogue, and other leading lifestyle publications played a crucial role in crafting the story for them with cover shoots and fashion spreads with Bollywood stars. And just going back a bit, to sort of join all the dots, a bit on my personal story, I actually, and many people don't know this, but there was a passion project in the late 90s where I actually partnered with some antique dealers and gallery owners and created an online marketplace called indiaartmart.com. And for almost a year, we had curated shows online and told the stories. And obviously, we weren't set up for, you know, it was pre-Web 2 days, and we obviously weren't set up for, there's no safe payment gateways. So orders were taken over email, and we would work on packaging and shipping with galleries. And it was sort of an absolutely exciting time. A full circle, 2 decades later, I work in e-commerce, where my learnings and experience in luxury are now being updated on a daily basis. So much has changed, yet my luxury exposure has helped me every day. And I'm blown away at the scale and the opportunity to build this luxury business online. Now, cut to, obviously, the cultural sort of period that we're living in. Everything has changed. The social media has exploded in everyone's lives. And it's no longer the privileged urban affluent, but across Bharat. This exposure has seen a shift in society, and we can see now that, you know, the whole identity, shift in identity from religious traditionalism to Desi modernism, collectivism to individualism, and you know, free spirit, and becoming more and more materialistic. So this new inclusive consumer, how is the luxury brands sort of talking to this customer, and how are we specially crafting these codes? Are we sort of engaging with them? Are we becoming more purposeful? Or how are we sort of communicating this authenticity, the heritage and the superior quality? And we're going to talk about all of this with my sort of very, how should I'm trying to use the right word there. This is an overwhelmingly large panel of sort of people who go back many generations. So I'm going to actually stop here to say that I think that the time has come for us to look at Bharat very, very differently. We have an opportunity to talk to 1,000 cities and 24,000 pin codes, and the luxury brands are here to stay. I mean, we know now, there's an estimate that by 2025, nearly 50% of our luxury market is going to consist of Gen Z and Gen Y buyers. And the pandemic has changed all that. We know that this landscape has changed forever, and there's no turning back. And just to, and I'm not going to show the film because of the paucity of time, and I'm going to jump to this first seat vacant for me and start off with my questions for this panel. So off I go. Okay. So, can you hear me? Does this work? Okay, perfect. So my first question goes to Abhinav. So there's clearly been a shift in consumer demand, right? And consumption patterns as a result of the pandemic. How has this refined your approach to this change in your experience currently, and as well from everything else you've done before?
Hi, everyone. So a very relevant question, Almona. And I think, you know, the pre-pandemic era and the post-pandemic era, of course, there is a huge cultural shift that we witnessed. You know, India traditionally, and I was discussing this offline also with a few people, that culturally India was a country, or we've been brought up in a way where we say that, you know, bachat karo, save karo, spend judiciously, don't overspend. That's how generally, you know, most of the Indians have been brought up in that way. Pandemic has sort of changed that influx a little bit, right? So, you know, everyone, I'm sure, probably everyone sitting over here in this room as well, would be having their own horror stories of the pandemic. Somebody has lost their near ones, dear ones. So what pandemic taught everybody was that, you know, life is short, it is unpredictable, it is here and now. So live now, right? And that is a huge cultural shift which I think all of us need to understand. And that's the reason we're seeing that huge upsurge in retail, huge upsurge in travel, huge upsurge in whether it is F&B. People are going out, they want to live their life, they want to spend today. Today, a Raksha Bandhan is almost 75% of a Diwali sales, right? So it's basically saying that people are there to experience, live in the moment today, right? And enjoy every moment. How are the brands now preparing for that? Are we giving that right product at the right time? You know, I don't think, I was reading a Euromonitor report, and it says that luxury market was stated to be about 2021, it was somewhere around $2.5 billion. And they're saying that in the next couple of years, or probably by the end of this year, it'll be about an $8 billion industry. So that's how the consumption pattern today is changing. So yes, the consumer behavior has undergone a huge shift, and all of us need to be very, very aware about how we're talking to this evolved consumer.
Thank you, Abhinav. Let me take the next question then to Abhishek of Lacoste. Digitization has opened new doors for the luxury industry, and greater reach and accessibility, discovered new target groups. This has changed the way luxury brands now communicate and interact with their customers. And moreover, luxury industry has also seen a rise of new set of customers. How do you see these new customers' expectations and stories differ from online and offline? And how do you go on building a meaningful relationship then with these new customers and strengthening them with the existing and, the existing customers, the new customers?
Okay, so hi everyone. I represent a brand called Lacoste. So to answer your question, new customers, so clearly there's a clear divide between the aspiring customers and the continuing customers who understand the taste and the language of an international premium brand and so for a luxury brand. So for the customer who really understand what the brand is and what the product is, for them, this online and offline divide is not exactly a divide. For them, online is basically a channel of convenience so that they can purchase at whatever time of convenience that they want to purchase. In terms of new customers who really want to, are the aspiring customers who really want to experience the brand for the first time, yes, it is difficult when it comes to choosing a city or a place where to open a store and where to go. Unfortunately, in last few years, India saw a massive, I would say, upsurge in terms of overall availability of malls in India. But still, we don't have that kind of premium international mix or a premium brand malls available across India. So when we choose, when we decide on how to go and where to go, we really look into the places where exactly all other premium international brands are there, and whether our customers can really reach out to that place or not. But with online, I think that divide is going now, and people are reaching us to basis on their convenience. And as we were discussing earlier, this is one strategy which really is working best for us, is keeping the price parity between offline and online. So for a brand like us, our strategy is to keep the same price, whether it's offline or online, whether it's city A or city B. So all of it is really bringing the customer and getting the customer's trust in the brand. The other thing which is now becoming a trend is people who are buying luxury and premium product, they are also looking at the brand, whether the brand is getting responsible or not. So this is one better trend which I think has come up world over now. And whatever they buy, they really look at to the brand as how much responsible they are in terms of overall product journey that they are. In fact, to an extent, that brand, the people are now even asking as in how responsibly you are disposing the products as well when the product life is coming to an end. So that way, I think a lot of new trend has come and new expectations have come. And I think this is how we are so far managing the expectations.
Thank you. So then I'm going to go to Ankur and ask you, from purely offline, how do you imagine luxury brands go phygital and become more seamless in the omni-channel experience? You obviously, as La Creuset's head, have you found that balance?
Yeah, I think, the luxury consumer has evolved over time, and I think luxury today is not just about, the snob value or the product. I think it's an overall experience. I mean, a customer is just not looking for a product, he's looking at an overall experience. And with the, explosion of social media, I think brands have become, more and more conscious of what they talk, the entire storytelling, the entire brand persona, because, consumers obviously relate themselves to the brand, not just because of the product, but because of the experience, because of, the values, the ethos, and, obviously, they look at brands to be more responsible, to, talk in the right fashion. So I think this evolution has, kind of pushed us to also look at, a phygital world. And the pandemic, obviously, threw open, this challenge of entire digitizing. And, obviously, this was happening globally, but obviously in India, it was kind of limited to, more mass brands. But, obviously with portals like Tata CLiQ Luxury, we are taking the brand to the consumer, digitally as well. And I think digital plays a very big role in the sense of, how influencers come on board, how they try, try and influence the, customer, how customer engagement happens. And, we do that a lot because, we have a lot of advocacy through influencers, through our own customers, word of mouth. And, that plays a big role in terms of, giving that right information, giving that right experience to the brand, to the customers, even digitally. And I think the overall customer journey now has, shifted from only a purchase decision at the store to, an overall experience, whether it's digital, whether it's at the store. At the end of the day, the customer wants an overall experience and not just a product.
Thank you. I mean, you segued very well into my next question. So this question I'm going to pose to Samir and Rohit. So Samir, the rise of creators and content, how important is it in both your businesses? So we'll start with Samir and go to Rohit. How important is creators and content in the beauty business and in the fashion business?
Thanks, Almona. I think for the audience, I run a French chain of salons, basically in Bombay and Bangalore, and we've just opened a little salon in Cochin and Bhopal. So we boutique business that we are in. We're in the prestige segment of hair care and beauty, and we have, I hope, I've got many people here sitting in this audience who are our customers. Content is definitely for brands like us very, very important because firstly, we don't advertise and we have no intentions to advertise because we are not a national player and neither do we have those kind of budgets that we can go on full-blown press or full-blown television. However, the other side, which is that for market leaders like us, for the segment that we are in, we have to be right on ahead and we continuously would need very deep relationships with our partners to give us the right kind of content. While there is an influencer community, I personally believe, and this is my personal view without pointing any fingers, it's very, very basic as far as India is concerned. And the segment of consumers that we are creating in, they are really not the ones who get influenced by today's influencers, unfortunately, because there are many, many of them active at the moment. So our strategy to get genuine content, genuine consumer knowledge, to continuously share what is happening globally in the space of beauty, responsible beauty, genuine and integrity as far as the whole offering is concerned is very, very important. So we've been blessed that we can rely on a headquarters and also because we work with multinational brands. So we are able to get content, but then we tweak it as far as the Indian market is concerned and the Indian consumer is concerned. So I think it is there, but also the consumer is very, very hungry at the moment and she is getting access to a lot of information. Many of it is not relevant to us, but it has to be tweaked to suit the Indian consumer, and that's where brands like us come into play. So while I think content is important, but then relatability, to the Indian consumer in our business, to the Indian skin type, to the Indian hair type, to the Indian value systems is very, very important. That's what we are experiencing. And that's what we intend to do.
Thank you. Sure.
Hi. So on the content side, running brands like Calvin and Tommy, these are global brands and brands, even before we launched them in India, customers knew about us. So we've always had a benchmark which was like London, like Tokyo. People would always compare us, our stores, our teams, our staff, our product to something that was available internationally. And internet has probably made that world even smaller. And the demand and the expectation of that customer is, that content is available online in terms of international product being available. For us, the expectation is that we bring it to the customer here in India and service it to them. But at the moment, I would say that we are still in the phase, if I was to use DMAC as a philosophy, we're at the measure phase now. We just about getting to know what is that customer liking because we've been on horizontal platforms. And we're measuring as to what they're liking, what are they shopping, is that very different from what we're doing online and offline. And maybe between measure and analyze phase, but I don't think we've even started acting on anything that would say, okay, this is this is a cause and this is what we need to do to be able to bring this effect yet. But so, yeah, like I said, the customers do have that expectation from us in terms of content that's available globally to be brought here and being made available to us. And we are doing what we do, we are offering to customers what we offer offline as yet. But nothing that I would say that we've curated specifically. We're in the measure phase and we sure will work on it.
Thank you. I think that's a very honest answer and honestly very refreshing because people rely heavily sometimes on content in a, sort of they almost feel that they have to, without which they're not going to be successful. So the next question then goes to Preeti. What are the big challenges with customer service on an online platform? Are we able to handle them with and offer that delightful service with minimum interventions? And you know how annoying it is when you buy something and you get some 25 messages back to back. And how do we reduce that? And not that the luxury customer needs to get fewer and sort of someone who's not buying luxury can be annoyed with that. But, here, since we're talking about luxury customers and luxury brands, the importance and adaptation of, softer human skills required to understand the customer with knowledgeable experts. How do you bring that knowledge of these luxury brands to our customer? What are the things that you think are working? What are the things that you believe need to be fixed?
Hi. So I'm a part of Nykaa Fashion. Just to give you a bit of background. Essentially at Nykaa Fashion, we actually started as a luxury portal and then we moved to a more value space or a mass space. We're still mass premium and not really fully value as much as we'd like to be. So I think if I was to take a step back and really talk about content, which is how Rohit and Samir were answering, actually in today's day and age, what is most important is content, at least digitally. Because the only way a consumer understands the brand, understands the product, and sets expectations is by the content of your product page, by the content that you're putting up on Instagram, the content that they are seeing generally everywhere. So if you're clear with what is your motive behind for each brands or each categories or each verticals, what are you doing the content with what intent, then the customer satisfaction is far stronger. Whereas if you're not really able to control a lot of the content, then people just expect, okay, we'll get this really fancy piece and then they're just returns, because the supply chain in luxury is also such that it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to deliver. It's not as if everything comes in as quickly as a mass premium brand or a mass brand delivers. So that's one. I think second thing on customer service is just like any other physical store, digital is actually also expecting a great service. And it's Gen Z and millennials primarily. So obviously they're always in a hurry, always looking for, okay, how can we get it the fastest? How can we return the fastest? How can we pick up on the fast? How can people...
Seamless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seamless with no blips and no interaction if possible.
No, absolutely. No questions asked. No, why did I have to write an email? Why did somebody call me up for a delivery? Etc., etc. So that seamlessness is one thing which is a requirement. I think I wouldn't say that we've reached where we would like to be. Definitely it's a journey. What we have done are two things. One, we've actually got a style advisory service in which we've got these luxury partners of ours who actually help you out. So it's more like an offline learning which we've taken to online. One. And second is just keep getting better. So we just keep working at wherever we are goofing up and trying to make it more and more seamless, both from a tech perspective as well as working with our partners, several partners who are right here who are helping out the portal as such.
Perfect, thank you. Not there yet, but on our way there. So the next question is to Sandeep. Sandeep, this is a tricky question, and it's actually for anyone else who also... Okay. I'm sure I met him in the speaker room earlier. I did, right? He was there. Okay. So then I'm gonna send it to. I mean, I had the toughest question for Rajendra, but we'll. Okay. So let me bring that to Rajendra then. So do Indian luxury brands understand the Indian consumer better than the global brands do, from fit to feeling? I mean, it's a broad question, and I'd love to hear your views.
Good evening, everybody. I think since last 50 years, world has already accepted that one of the most difficult customers is an Indian customer. This is true whether he's a mass consumer, value consumer, premium consumer, or a luxury consumer. They are the most spoiled customers in the world. And they are spoiled because the brands have really given them way, way beyond than what a normal service or a product or a quality or after-sales service that any other brand the same brand in any other country would give. So to answer your question, does the brand know his consumer well? Pretty well. They, in fact, know a lot about the consumer. And fortunately or unfortunately, because of the technology revolution, the digital revolution, the social media revolution, today brands and sellers know much more than what they would have known 15 years ago. They practically know many things about a consumer, his behavior, where he goes, where he's shopping, how he's spending his time, where is his house, where is his office. Many things are available to a brand, and they're utilizing it to the best ability. They are really, the whole concept of retargeting, remarketing has arrived and succeeded because you have a lot of information about consumer behavior. A lot of research has happened. A lot of researchers are still continuing how to, this whole privacy subject is primarily because the brands know too much about a consumer now.
True, very true, very true. We're completely out of time. Do I have one more question to ask? Whoever, so I'm going to, this is for Gopa then. Sure. Okay, so my last question, because we've absolutely run out of time, is, Gopa, I'm really interested to understand, I mean, you know, the obvious question which everyone's sort of talked about in some form or the other is, the Indian customer loves the hustle, loves the discount, the deal, right? And how do you maintain price parity between physical and digital? And how do luxury, and you know, because you're in the jewelry business, I have to ask you this. The fact that, you know, you go to your Indian jeweler and you're buying your fine jewelry piece, but you don't hesitate to cut a deal, ask for that discount, making charge off kar dena. But you resist to do that if you're walking into this global brand where you're, you know, the music is piped and the champagne is there and so on and so forth. Why? What is that? What's the consumer mindset? And just sort of rounding it up by saying, that's what we're here talking about. What's the luxury mindset? Why do you think, and what's this, how do we build parity?
Right, thanks for that. I represent Bhima Jewels. We run about 50 stores with a turnover of 10,000 crores. Predominantly what I sell is stone and metal. That's what I sell. I'm just with a lot of luxury guys here, you know, enjoying the company. But yeah, the Indian consumer loves to negotiate, and that's a part of the experience design. And just to step back and tell you how the pandemic has been for this category. You know, I used to work with the food business with Future Group before this at some point of time, and when pandemic hit, we thought, you know, I thought that who's going to come and buy, you know, stone and metal or gold and diamonds? And, you know, I was pleasantly surprised when the stores opened. A lot of consumers walked in, and what has predominantly happened is that in India, the consumption of gold is about 800 tons. That's what it is, right? It fell down in the pandemic to about 550 tons or so. And a lot of shift happened from the unorganized retail segment to the organized retailers. And all organized retailers, if you see, they're setting up stores everywhere. And they're expanding. There's a mad scramble for high street properties and, you know, good properties. It's only because of the shift that has happened. And as far as the consumer is concerned, two important trends that we are seeing. One is that there are a lot of marriages that have happened, and we have, you know, tied up for databases with all the Shadi.coms and others of the world, and we're seeing there's a 30% upshift as far as marriages that are happening. So ticket sizes have gone up a lot for us, you know, thankfully so. And on the other side, a lot of babies are being born. You know why? A lot of work from home and other stuff has happened. So, I leave it to your imagination. But yeah, that's also happened. So we are having to expand these two categories and introduce a lot of collections to cater to these two categories. And they're very profitable categories. Jewelers are very profitable right now. And another movement that is happening is towards the studded and diamond segment. So I know we are out of time. Indian consumer negotiates really hard, and they would come and tell you that, I'd supply this product to you. Why don't you source it from me? So this is the kind of things that happen here.
Thank you very much, Gopa. And sorry to have rushed everyone. We had such an incredible panel, and I could only ask them one question. Fantastic. Okay, so we have one more question to ask? Okay, perfect. So I will throw this open to anyone. Actually, multiple people can quickly dip in and tell me. And this is an open-ended. Any interesting insights, changes in the luxury industry that you'd like to share from your industry? Any trends that we're witnessing that we'd like to share with our audience? Quickly, a quick one.
Okay, luxury hair care. Prestige hair care is exploding. I have just launched a product at $80 for 50 grams, which is 5,600 rupees, and we launched it on 17th of January. In my 20-year career, I have never sold such expensive hair care. And it is just exploding. Women, we love you, girls. So that's a trend.
Thank you. I would like to throw one very interesting information for everybody's knowledge. Due to COVID, there was a certain set of customers of luxury who never used to buy luxury from India. They felt that's not worthy to buy from India. The image, if you buy from London or Harrods or New York, is different than if you buy from Mumbai. In COVID, we found that customer has really, for us, graduated from international market to national market. And now they have become regular customers. And that shift, I think, has become more or less permanent. Now they have realized, because they had never stepped earlier into the Indian malls, so they never realized that India also has equally good product or a brand available. Now that they have stepped in, I think that paradigm shift for luxury has happened, and it is here to stay. So you will see the luxury growth happening much, much faster than what was anticipated.
Does anyone want to talk about, and it's back to you, does anyone want to talk about how the stores are changing? Smart stores, yes. Smart mirrors.
So before that, if I have time, I would love to add one more point on the entire luxury construct. Is earlier, so say about 5-8 years back or 10 years back, luxury probably was restricted more to the metros and the tier 1 cities, right? Now today, luxury has actually penetrated to the tier 2, tier 3 cities. There, the spending power. So just to give an example, we launched, so we do, we are Brand Concepts as a company. We are a licensee for Tommy Hilfiger travel gear. So wherever you see a Tommy Hilfiger leather product or a travel gear product, that would be through us. And so we launched, typically, our travel gear is priced between 35,000 to 50,000 rupee for a set, right? A set of 3 pieces. So that's the typical pricing that we operate in. And we launched a set for 1,20,000 rupees, right? So 3-piece set would cost you 1,20,000. You know where we sold the first set from? It was our Varanasi store. That was where the first set got sold.
Incredible, Bharat.
Yeah, so just sharing that.
I think, one of the changes in the luxury consumer is that, they are becoming very, very conscious. They are becoming very, very aware. They're very smart in what they want to buy, when they want to buy. And I think for a brand like Le Creuset, I mean, not to say this, but we were very fortunate, during the COVID times because, in any case, our lives are surrounded by food. Families talk about food, and COVID gave an opportunity to everyone at home to experience home food, cook more, and I think people became more and more conscious about not just healthy foods and recipes, but also about healthy cookware, and that's one thing which helped us really well in COVID.
No, absolutely. So tier 2, tier 3. Thank you very much. to the panel. Oh, really? Okay. Any questions from the audience for the panel? We have more questions. Anyone, anything else?
Yeah, I think since we have the luxury of time, and luxury requires time to actually do the sale, you know, thanks for that.
You give us more time, we'll sell some luxury products to you guys.
So I'll just mention a few things in the jewelry segment and, you know, just to get the mind space. See, there were these fancy projects pre-pandemic, you know, you had, like you mentioned, magic mirror or smart mirrors and stuff. They used to catch dust in a corner somewhere and, you know, the IT guy used to say, Karliya, KRA is achieved. You know, but now when it comes today, you know, we are bringing it into the center of the retail experience in the showroom and the stores, as we call that. And consumers are actually trying out, you know, jewelry and you know, going through the designs, shortlisting those designs, and then they're able to check it on the web app that we have and also, you know, make that purchase decision. Also, services like personal shopper, which is a fancy service to do white glove service and stuff, which was there, and we never used to get appointments. We are seeing appointment schedules, you know, fixed for that, especially for high-end antique jewelry, which starts off at 8 lakhs to, you know, 30 lakhs kind of a range, or high-end diamond boutique jewelry, which goes up to 50 lakhs to 1 crore. So we are having those. Also, there's a lot of demand for, you know, boutique-ish services, made-to-order services. So we've launched a Bhima Privé recently in Hyderabad, which has got these, you know, special rooms with viewing galleries and stuff, which is giving us great response and all of that. So a lot of trends have changed the way consumers shop and consume luxury in the jewelry segment.
Thank you, absolutely. Well, we can do the photo op that you would want to request us to do.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.